Okay, PR number 38. Number 38. Basically, right now, it's 5 in the morning. I'm watching my favorite YouTuber, myself, and my friend here, Rants. He's an investor in GameStop and was an investor in Costco and was in the management of Costco at one point. And then I was watching Ben Mala, the real estate investor from Florida, one of my favorite smokers. And then my team won. I'm trying to have a bit less emotion with my speaking because it seems like not my best trait. So I was doing some research earlier. Let's go through my history, see what's going on here. Why Russians don't show emotion. All misspelled and everything. Why Russians don't. A neutral expression is simply the standard respectful baseline. Maybe their looks maxing. They don't want to get wrinkles, so they just don't have emotion. A smile in Russia culture is usually reserved as a genuine indicator of personal joy, not a polite reflex. Cultural display rules. In serious or formal environments, such as workplace or while shopping, a neutral expression demonstrates professionalism and respect. Now, this is something I struggle with. I'm always smiling, except in New York. Just got me into a bit of trouble. People are like, "Why are you smiling? Don't you know?" Like, what do you mean? These people think it's normal to pay 10% a year over 50 years. That's like 500% of your salary that you'll ever make. And the property tax, and the pollution, and the dirtiness, and the crazy people, and the insane asylums, and the institutions. I think it's the next Detroit. Even though the Knicks don't even train in New York City, do they? No, they train all the way in upstate New York where it's nice, near the Catskill Mountains where the nice water comes from. That's where Mike Tyson trained, and that's where all the prisons are. The prisoners are living a better life than the majority of the people who live in New York because they all live in shitty homes they can't afford to repair because the property taxes and the income taxes are so expensive, and it's so hard to start a business and continually run the business because the fees, the taxes, the tolls, the attorneys, everything going on with New York just absolutely. For some people it works. I mean, some people they work for the town, they're getting paid from the tax money, so they don't care. In fact, their salaries just continue to increase. While the other people, they just do delivery jobs, they get paid $15 an hour, doing grocery store jobs, and then you have the rich people who are making a bunch of money, and they make fun of all the poor people who have not enough money to wear different clothes every day, so they make fun of them. And honestly, out of spite, I'll just wear the same thing over and over again because those people suck. So I hope all those people get what's coming for them. And I know that the people who do the work every day, like me, getting up at 4 a.m., training, sharing it with the world, doing my podcast, sharing it with the world, doing my trading, sharing it with the world. I don't have to share it with the world. I could do it myself and be successful. But I'm sharing all these progresses and all these journeys and all these challenges with you so you could learn with me and I could learn with you. So that's what I'm all about. So, and New York isn't the only state where the taxes become unbearable for a lot of the population to the point where they become depressed and suicidal, and we're losing, tons of people every year to overdoses that are depression induced. But is depression real? Well, if you're living in a little tiny box and you're cramped up and the only thing for you to do is drugs and listen to music that's telling you to do drugs, then yeah, you become depressed. Because the music at the same time is telling you you're broke, you can't afford Louis Vuitton, you can't afford YSL, you can't wear Dior, but you know what you can do? I'm popping perks, I'm feeling amazing. It's $30. It's fucking horrible. Then the yeast infections, oral sex, anal. This stuff is ruining the population, spreading yeast infections that are causing cancer. And the way to fight it is to have vitamin B. And some of the antidepressants actually pause the yeast infection but don't kill it completely. Does sertraline fight yeast infections? So people get yeast infections and they basically rot from the inside out. And it progresses into cancer because the cancers thrive in the yeast infection environment because the acidity of the body changes, is my theory. I don't know. Actually, I'm not a doctor. Fuck. I could have been a doctor. I could have been a lawyer. I'm 32. I've been studying for over 10 years in different subjects and studies. When they locked me up for the psilocybin, when I was trying to study at school for spring break, and I was about to have one of the best times of my life. I was paying out of pocket for my school from a job. I was working at Dunkin' Donuts, and I bought Ethereum at $30 and sold it for $400, and I had enough money to go to school. I took my brother in a minivan to the mall, and I celebrated with him. Ethereum then went on to go up 10 times more. So I would have been better off just holding Ethereum than going to college, where I got expelled, I got humiliated, and then they criminally charged me for possession of a substance. And then told me, my attorney was telling me that I'm crazy and that I should say that I don't even understand. So I just did not have a good time. I ended helping 40 people who had much worse charges than me get free from jail early in a 6-month intense paramilitary boot camp that I actually found great solace in. And I enjoyed the paramilitary boot camp more than school and my actual adult life, where I was just forced into watching movies that promote criminality and drug use and bullshit. And then I had to be around children who were being taught to go retarded and be retards for over 20 years. And that was the cool thing to do, and that all the people who were studying were retards and they were weird. And then people would call me weird because why? Because my parents are from another country. This is supposed to be America, But this is the most racist place I've ever been to. New York is supposed to be the melting pot. At the same time, it's the most racist place I've ever been to. It's the craziest thing. Anyway, they will put you away for 5 years for having one rock in your pocket or having a gun on the wrong side of the state line. Like if you were a truck driver back then, they would arrest you. Back then, before Trump changed all the laws and made everything good for people who were truck drivers and who had actual jobs where they needed a firearm to protect themselves in business. So people would get arrested. There would be truck drivers. They'd have a firearm in their car, in their lockbox, and the police officer pull them over and say, "Do you have any firearms in the car?" And they'd be honest and say yes. They even had a permit in another state. But you know what? Because they were in the wrong state, being New York, they would arrest them for at least 2 years minimum for one possession of a firearm. Nobody's getting hurt. They're just driving, doing their job as a truck driver, protecting their car. But they didn't even they that's what I'm saying. That's the people we're up against. This is not Republicans coming up with these laws. The states, they're too strong. They're making crazy laws and taking advantage of the residents of the states. That's the problem. The high taxes, the people who are throwing these people in jail over these possession charges. These aren't violent crimes. This is not crime. This is not crime. Possession is not crime. So look here. Sertraline does have antifungal properties against these strains like Candida. Maybe this is why people find such great benefits on sertraline. Because people who are 20 are most likely to have a yeast infection. We all have to share colleges and pools and everything with people. And everybody's being brainwashed to have oral sex with each other. You don't think yeast infections are going to spread like wildfire, and then eventually yeast infections turn, or they help, give a place for cancer to thrive in. Here, let's look it up. Does yeast infections give cancer a place to thrive? Like, I lost my dog. She was 5 years old. Right? Do not cause cancer. However, emerging medical research shows a complex two-way link where long-term chronic fungal infections create an inflammatory environment that may support tumor growth or disease progression. Like I said, it's time for us to fight back against these high-tax, drug-disputing, doctor paid by the state through Medicaid and Medicare and pushing unnecessary surgeries when most people just have yeast infections and they're rotting from the inside out, guys. They're rotting from the inside out. Vitamin B fights cavities and yeast infections and verse cavities. But why? Because it's fighting the fungus. Niacin nicotinamide acts as an antimicrobial against Streptococcus mutans, the bacteria largely responsible for tooth decay. Verse, let's go. And all they want us to know is World Cup, World Cup, World Cup. This is crazy, guys. Fuck the World Cup. These guys, they're just running back and forth. Instead of people running back and forth, they're watching people running back and forth. This is wild, guys. This is the shit we're fighting against right now. Breast cancer plays a powerful role in preventing non-melanoma skin cancers and may have a complex contrasting impact on other aggressive acting cancers. 54% risk reduction. Individuals who begin taking 500 milligrams of vitamin B3 twice daily immediately following their first ever cancer diagnosis see a massive 54% drop rate in of new skin cancers. Verse vitamin B3 versus yeast infection. Significant antifungal, including fluconazole resistant isolates. Vitamin B3. Let's see. For dogs. Because the same people benefiting, all these doctors, all these lawyers, all these guys, they're the ones who are donating to these teams. So you guys could just watch the entertainment and do the gambling and waste all your money and waste your life away. And then die early from cancer so that you don't get paid your Social Security money that you worked all your life for. This is the game. But it's not even corrupt people who are making it, so they're just not competent enough to understand anything about researching or learning to actually get the right information and the right treatments to people and help them before they become actually sick. When you're 70 years old and you've had a yeast infection untreated for 40 years, that's not good. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's good to just do the research and just follow what your heart and I don't even know, I don't know. Definitely don't experiment, but definitely learn constantly. Seems like it's safe for dogs, I don't know. I'm a dog, 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 I'm a dog. Alright, so right now, 101 STRC, 95, 3 Av. Let's see what we got. 500 GME, 7K in calls, 100 MSTR, 200 ASST. What else is going on? So I used to have a friend. This was my best friend in high school by far. He lived down the road. I would go to his house and he would take me to the gym with his brother and we would do training, heavy lifting in the gym, deadlifts, squats, bench presses. They were much stronger than me. They were built like Ilya Taporia. And they were just diesel brick houses, like just jacked. And I learned so much from them. And, they were into real estate and they had friends that live across the road from them and they would drink alcohol but then they started doing steroids and then they started not wanting to be friends with me and one of their friends stole money. I mean, we bought dominoes and then they were making the numbers not add up so that I had to owe more money and I was just like, this is fucking crazy, and we stopped being friends. He went on to go to college and would drive his Mercedes. Like all my friends, most of my friends in New York, they come from divorced families. They come from single family homes in small, tiny homes that usually have carpet and just like a lot of steps and stairs and just small multi-story homes. And I always felt in my heart more recently that all this yeast infection and gym spreading and all this stuff is just not necessary. If everybody had a single story home and a garage, they could have a gym in their garage. It would be easier to do. It would be safer. It just would be better. Like, that's why I think that there's going to be new cities being built more in the middle of the country because the land's there, and when they come up with new materials that last longer, they're going to just keep on building houses. The new houses are going to be single-story homes with a two-car garage with a pool so everybody could train at home. I don't know why. Training at a gym has its purpose, and people who want to do that should do that. But it's just not necessary for me. I find my best training sessions come when I'm in privacy, when I am private, when I'm by myself. I have my best training sessions. I started going to the gym with my friend, and yeah, I learned a lot about all the different machines and all these other things. But I just don't really like being around people like I said, in New York, people over $5, so they'll over $5, over $5 in New York.